Hey everybody, this is the fun time where we get to actually go into the plots and start our walkthroughs with the sculptors. I'm going to be doing 1 through 8 and Dan is going to be doing 9 through 15. But what I just want to say first is that the most amazing thing about sand sculpting is how much people appreciate it, because everybody has tried to build a sand castle, some type of something on the beach at some point, and usually with failure because we don't know the techniques that these people are using, and that's what we're going to show you a lot of in all these walkthroughs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with Ongeroen David. He is from Belgium, and you can see right away, you haven't seen any of the other sculptors yet, but if you took a look down the beach, it's all wooden forms. But the very first one here, Ongeroen, has plastic forms. Now what this is it's actually above ground pool siding, and he clamps them together in the size that he wants, and then he fills them with sand and water, sand and water. We're going to come around to the side because he's actually doing a little pound up off to the side, and we're going to show it to you in action. Okay, we're around the other side of Ongeroen's plot, and you can see what he's doing. He's got a different plastic form over here. He has it clamped together right here, just C-clamps. And oh look, he's being visited. He's being visited by, oh, did you stop? Oh. Oh, I can't take it. These guys are too much. Abe, ever the joker, and poor Ongeroen down on the end here has to be near Abe for the next 4 days. Abe decided he wanted to come join us.
I think I go to work.
Yeah, and then Ongeroen gave him a little bit of the medicine that Bob the camera guy got the other day. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, he's undermining your... Abe. He's undermining your sculpture. Now that they're done playing, we'll show you. What he's doing is he's stabbing the sand, the dry sand, with the shovel, and then using that, all the water's going down into the dry spots, and if it's not wet enough, he'll add more. But look how it's like mush, mud, which is great. That means all the sand is getting wet, but that means he's also going to have to let that sit a little bit before he can take that form off. He has to let a lot of that water drain out. But that's the key to it, just getting it all wet and mushing it around. We are with Abe Waterman from Canada. We just saw him joining us over at Ongeroen's plot. But right now what I'm going to show you is something that he's got a lot of things going on here that I want to talk about. I don't know if I have enough time. But these ropes right here, and what that's for, he's got it wrapped around the whole form. They can use these, but they have to remove them, because at the end it has to be only sand and water. So what he'll do with this is to hold the form together, because he's got a narrow form. You don't want it to spread out. So when he takes all these forms off, he also has a strap going on here that helps to support the form. Over here, the forms have a tendency to bow out. So what he'll do is when he takes the forms off, he'll then take this and he'll have to pull it all the way through the sand so he can remove it. Another thing he has going on is, one of the categories is usage of sand.
Robert Gregory Dunbar.
He said Robert Gregory Dunbar showed him how to do that. That's his mentor in sand. He's also the man behind the camera. Okay, another thing Abe has going on is right here. One of the categories is usage of sand. And you can tell already, and we'll notice this on some of the other plots, he's used practically every single bit of sand. He doesn't even have an inch down here of the good sand that he can shovel from. So that's going to help him as long as he's able to, carry through with all the other categories. But he's also up on top of a pad. This is a pad. Now, in order for this whole thing to work, he has to treat that bottom pad the same way you see them treating the sand that's inside the forms. That all has to get wet. And what they do is they flatten out the top of it and they probe it, and then they stomp around the water inside there. So as long as that gets all wet and he's done that correctly, this should be a really cool, strong...
If I didn't do it correctly, what should I expect?
Boom. Fall down and go boom. And that does happen. It is just sand and water. All right, we are at Steve Tapazio's plot. He's from Tiverton, Rhode Island. And you can see as well, just like Abe, that he's used quite a bit of his sand, which is really a good sign at this stage of the competition. We're only into the first half of the day, and they're already well underway to using all their sand, which is one of the categories, and it's a pretty important category. We'll go into more about the judging, probably tomorrow. But you can see his pad isn't quite as tall as the one, high as the one that we saw on Abe's, but he also has a different shape on top, and he also has 3 forms going on up there. He's also got a pile off to the left here that he's probably going to be doing some other feature, maybe a pound up over on that side. Okay, we are with Remi Hogarde, and she is living in Bulgaria right now, but not originally from Bulgaria. Where are you originally from, Remi?
I'm from the Netherlands.
Oh, okay, the Netherlands. I knew that. Anyway, she is representing Bulgaria. She's living there now. We talked over at the other 2 guys' plots about this pad that they're using. Now, Remi, you haven't done this before. Did Dan show you?
Yes.
Okay. Dan and I have been using a technique for about, 6-7 years, where when they give you a pile of sand, why would you want to move the whole pile of sand? Dan and I are getting up in years, and we want to make it easier on our bodies. So he discovered a way that you could flatten it out, and as long as you can probe down in there and get it all wet. So that's what Remi has done here, and that's a really nice tall one.
Yes, I did it quite high. I had the stick to poke it into the sand, and I had a big swimming pool where I trampled.
Yes, and if you have the right tools, you can do that. She had a probe, so, well, good luck with it, and she's already well underway with carving. Good luck, Remi. Okay, we are with Mel Beauregard from Canada, even though her shirt says Waterman. There's that Abe Waterman sense of humor again. He stole one of her shirts the first day and swapped it out. Anyway, Mel has done an amazing pound up here. Crazy, crazy. Already you can see she's used pretty much all of her sand. She, again, was another one that put it up on a pad, and it's a pretty nice high pad. Anytime you can get 2 feet out of the pad, that takes away all that physical energy from doing the very first pound up. She also has and it's 4 high, and it's also straight up and down on top of each other, which is a tricky technique that we'll get into later on. She's also built a platform back here, because the higher you get and the sheerer your forms are, if they're stacked up on top of each other like this, all the same size, there's nowhere for her to stand to carve it. And a lot of times you have to stand back to look, and you carve, maybe a foot, 2 feet away from the sculpture many times. And so that's good. That's helping her. She has 2 platforms. She's also flattening out the top and making it level. You saw her using the level with the piece of wood. And she's well underway. As we were walking away, I noticed that Mel has another form here ready to be used. And she's not only using all of her sand already, she's going to reuse sand, because once you start carving, you're carving away a lot of sand, and she'll probably use this. I'm going to be curious to see what she does with this other form. Okay, we're with Helena Bangert from the Netherlands, and again, another one that's doing it up on a pad. And the reason most of them can do this is that most of them are doing it is because they know now, after years and years, of the strength of this sand, how strong it is. There's a lot of sand that you could not do this with in other competitions, but because this sand is so dense and so strong, they're able to do that. She's got a really nice pound up going on. You can see also that she's used 90-95% of her sand, and we'll look forward to seeing what she does with this. Okay, we are with Jonathan Bouchard Joby, and he is from Canada as well. And you can see he's done something different than the other sculptors. So far we have seen all of the pound ups being done with one main feature, I guess, one main component as the sculpture. Well, he's using his sand a little bit differently. He has 1, 2, and now a third one in the back there. And there's something we call plot management. And for whatever he has in his head, he has to put these forms in exactly the right spot, because there's a reason he has these separated. Oh, yes, there is, Joby. Blah, blah, blah. There's definitely a reason why he has these placed exactly where they are. And another one, using all of his sand, he's also already well into carving. You can see this feature right here, already domed shaped on the top. Now, when you have forms that are smaller and narrower, you can't take all the forms off right away. He has to let this sit a little bit as it goes because there's not as much density into this particular pound up. So well underway, and we'll see what he has going on with this. Okay, we walked around the other side of Joby's, and earlier we mentioned that some of them use straps to keep the forms together, and this is what we were talking about right here on the corners, that when they bow, the wet sand can ooze out. Now that's not going to be a problem, but just, when the forms are much larger, like the ones we saw down at the end, you don't want to lose that much sand, but that's not going to be a problem. Okay, we are with Fergus Mulvaney, and he is from Ireland, and he's way up there too. He's 4 forms high. Each one of these forms are 2 feet. So he's 2 feet each one. There's 8 feet, and plus he's also on a little bit of a pad. You can also see that he has a lot of sand kind of like in an arc here. I don't know if this pertains to him, but sometimes they take their sand from specific areas. Let's say, for example, in his final design, he's got some type of let's just use for an example, a wave coming around. If he moves this sand, then he just has to put it back there again to make a wave. So they strategically use their sand. I don't know if that's the case in play here, but we'll see.